by Modelo.
The college football weekend kicks off here in Tampa. For the first time, it'll be Boise State playing South Florida as last year's playoff darling looks to repeat 2024, while the Bulls believe it's their turn to crash the playoff party. It's time. Week 1 of college football is here.
Every fall, something beautiful begins again. The colors return bold and proud. The band strikes up. The lights come on. The volume rises. And just like that, it ignites.
Goosebumps, baby. Goosebumps. This is why we love college football.
This is where stories unfold on 100 yards of open possibility.
What a catch! That is absolutely ridiculous. Wow, what a hit!
The chance, the chaos, heartbreak, and glory.
Don't want to hear no more talking. It's time!
This is college football.
It's game time, man!
And this is just the beginning.
It sure is, Ethan Hawke. FX is the lowdown, starring Ethan Hawke. Premieres September 23rd on FX. Stream on Hulu. As you were watching Kickoff Week, presented by Modelo. And with that, we are all the way back. Welcome back to Thursday Night College Football. I am Matt Derry. So happy to be joined by Tom Luganville this year in the booth. Dan Mullen off to UNLV, 1-0 for the Rebels. Lugs, I can't wait to do this season with you.
It's going to be unbelievable. Football, fun. I wouldn't want it any other way, right? Thursday night's going to be fantastic.
Industry night tonight to watch the college football. Tonight to watch Boise State. Like I said earlier, last year's playoff darling. Everybody knows the story by now. Ashton Jeanty, the all-everything running back, second of the Heisman Trophy voting a year ago. He is off to the NFL, but that doesn't mean these Broncos stable isn't loaded in the backfield.
Yeah, you may lose 2,600 yards of rushing and 30 touchdowns, but Boise State's going to do what they do, and this time it's going to be a two-headed monster. They love the big redshirt freshman Sire Gaines, and then Fresno State transfer comes over through the transfer portal, and Malik Sherrod, he's the lightning to the Gaines thunder. Now listen, you may change the numbers, you may change the names on the back of the jersey. One thing that doesn't change after 25 years is the process for Boise State.
This program has an identity, and one thing that does return, Harry Lyles Jr. is the quarterback, a veteran at that. It is his team to walk to the field this year.
That's right, Matt. I spoke with quarterback Maddox Madsen earlier this week, and he said this team is incredibly eager to prove that they were more than just one player. As you mentioned, the Heisman runner-up Ashton Jeanty. He said that this team, it takes 22 offense and defense, and he still feels that Ashton left a confidence in that running back room for them to uphold the standard that he left last year when I was with the offensive lineman, Cage Casey. He said, we still think we have one of the best running back rooms in the country.
Yeah, but anything you want a veteran quarterback coming back. And speaking of that, Luke, South Florida has their quarterback coming back. You can feel the energy here in Tampa because Byron Brown is back from injury. He is the guy that makes this thing go. He's one of the more electric players in the country, and he's going to have a coming out party tonight for everyone to see.
What a big physical runner and passer. He is dynamic. They're so glad to have him back because of the stress that he puts on opposing defenses. You're going to see them run him tonight. He's going to make his own plays on the ground and create when things break down, and he's really worked hard this offseason to improve his efficiency, particularly in the vertical passing game.
And the last time we saw him in a full season, 2023, he was the only other quarterback than Jaden Daniels, Heisman Trophy winner, to throw for over 3,000 yards and rush for over 800. So he is electric, and we expect that tonight. South Florida feels good about the roster they put together. And guess what? The Bulls are running. They'll get a chance to do it against the Broncos. Sit back, relax. Boy, are we kicking off college football when we return here to Tampa. Conference on ESPN as we welcome into ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Liberty Mutual. Moments ago, Alex Golish addressing his team.
With a bunch of dudes that are about something different. We talked about last night, something different. Go tell your story. Tell your story with your pads, with a clear mind, man. Play as hard as you can, as long as you can. We'll see what happens, but be ready. That fourth quarter, Hands on neck. Everybody with me? Rock and roll, man. Get a break. Do it.
Well, I tell you what, Luke, that just lights my wick. Here in a pregame speech here as we kick off week 1 of the season. South Florida, they won the toss. They will defer, so we will see Maddox Madsen in that Boise State offense as they're set to kick off. Wagaji going to kick off for the Bulls. Malik Sherrod, the transfer from Fresno State, he'll be a part of that backfield. As it is time, the longest offseason in sports is about to end. Week 1 of the college football season is here as we kick off in Tampa. Sherrod at the 5. He's going to make a couple of men miss, but South Florida does a great job corralling him at the 20. And as we talked about a moment ago, Lugs, they bring back a veteran quarterback in Maddox Madsen, who led the Mountain West in passing yards a year ago.
Well, they love everything about him, Matt, and this is one of the most undervalued, overlooked players a year ago, obviously because of the presence of Ashton Jeanty. All he does is make good decisions. He throws it to the right guys. He doesn't take negative plays, and his teammates absolutely love him.
I think one of the things Spencer Danielson told us in our meetings, that it is his time to be his team. So 1st and 10 from the 20. Madsen under center. The handoff to Sherrod. He gets the start, and a good job by that new-look Bulls defense. They brought in a lot of players from the portal for Todd Orlando, the defensive coordinator. They believe they shored up the defensive line and are looking forward to that physicality.
Yeah, they really needed to beef up the defensive front, not just in terms of overall talent, but depth. They're going to have to rotate through to get through the gauntlet of the season. And when you line up against a team like Boise State that can run it down your throat, you better be up to the task.
4 starters return along the offensive line, so a veteran group up front. After a gain of 4, 2nd and 6. Play fake Madsen, rolls out. That's what he does. Finds his receiver. It'll be a first down for the Broncos. That's Latrell Caples, brought down by Tavin Ward at a gain of 12.
I like the play call here. Just a little pitch and catch. Nice early confidence throw for Maddox Madsen, and Latrell Caples, one of the returning stalwarts amongst the receiving corps that will have some new faces we'll talk about tonight. But a nice job moving the chains right there through the air.
Sherrod still in the backfield. Another play fake to him, and a good close, and what a hit. How about that pop from Deshaun Rucker? Cameron Bates on the receiving end as he picks up 2.
Outstanding open field tackle by Rucker right here, and that's what you got to have when you're going to play in space. You can't allow the leaky yardage on a 2 to 3 yard completion.
And for the first time this game, we see Sire Gaines, the redshirt freshman running back. Excitement around this young player as Madsen, forced out of the pocket, finds Gaines out of the backfield, and you see him lower his shoulder. He's a load. He comes in 6 feet, 217 pounds as Rucker brings him down after 7.
No, Sire Gaines reminds me so much of what former North Carolina running back Omarion Hampton looked like when he was a younger player at North Carolina. Big 3rd down and 1 here coming up.
And it'll be a first down, Boise State. That was Gaines. As Rico Watson, the 3rd, brings him down. So 2nd first down for Boise State on the opening drive.
Yeah, and a lot of depth in that offensive line for Boise State. That time in some heavy personnel, brought in an extra offensive lineman. And now everybody in the stadium knows what they're going to do, including the hot dog vendor. So you got to buckle your chin strap if you're South Florida.
You see the offensive line. Look, as I said a moment ago, they bring back a veteran group. They feel good about putting any back there, and especially with their veteran quarterback. Is Madsen back to throw over the middle? That is caught. And that is Matt Wagner, the tight end, brought down by Ben Knox.
One of 3 really good-looking tight ends for this Boise State football team. Matt Lauder, really the star and the headliner coming in at the position. That time Wagner And again, Maddox Matson just picking his spots, divvying it out.
Matson 4-4 for 25 yards to start. Sherrod back in the backfield. We've already seen it now. Boise State using both backs early on, just inside South Florida territory. It's Sherrod. Quick scat, quick cut, and a first down, Boise State. It's a gain of 10. And there's the difference between the two, Luke's.
Yeah, he's got some juice, doesn't he? Just the stretch outside zone there, and they're going to line up. He reads the crease, and Nate Potter, the offensive coordinator, he said, he goes, one of the things he does best is identifying the cutback lane. He sure showed it right there.
It's the 8th play of the drive. Ball control out of Boise State. Play fake. Matson forced off his spot. Keeps his eyes downfield. That's going to be incomplete. That was intended for the tight end you mentioned a moment ago, Matt Lauder. Led the team with 7 touchdown receptions a year ago. A good tight end's a good comfort food for the quarterback, and Matson certainly has that.
Yeah, so reliable. We talked about that group, and you see Maddox Matson right there. He's not going to take a negative play. He's not going to get this offense behind the chains. Just chooses to throw it away and live to play the next down.
So the Broncos now their 3rd running back of the opening drive. Dylan Riley, a player they believe is a home run waiting to happen. They're going to see if he'll hit one here just off the left side. And a great job by that Bulls defensive front is Jalen Schuler, one of the leaders at linebacker, fills the gap for no gain. And now 3rd and long coming for the Broncos.
This is uncharted waters for Boise State. They're not accustomed to being in 3rd and 7+. They're accustomed to being 3rd and short and being able to have the option of running or throwing the football. Let's see what they come up with here.
Empty backfield. Matson over the middle, caught, and he'll be short as the ball pops out. Mac Harris, the other of that linebacker duo, delivered the hit. And it was his buddy Jalen Schuler that came up with it. They wanted much improvement from the defense, and boy, did they get it on their opening drive. A turnover. Here comes Byron Brown when we return. So a defense that finished 118th in the country last year in total defense, Luke's, comes up big, and it was the dynamic linebackers, Mac Harris, Jalen Schuler, that turned over the ball.
Well, and you got to take advantage of it. This is a Boise State team that turned the ball over all of 12 times a year ago, and 4 of those were against Penn State in the College Football Playoff Fiesta Bowl. So that doesn't happen often. Take advantage of it from South Florida.
And here comes Byron Brown in this breakneck South Florida offense. First throw, high, caught, loss of yardage. A loss of 1, that is Keyshawn Singleton. He came on at the end of last year, but boy, you can tell how excited they are to have this quarterback back. And if you haven't seen South Florida play football, that was dangerous. Amarion McCoy almost had a gift on his hip and a pick 6, but you're not going to be able to breathe watching the Bulls play offense because it is quick.
It's quick, but they're now in 3rd and 11. Going to have to come up with something downfield here. They want to get the play off on a 40-second play clock with 32 seconds left.
So play clock rarely gets under 25 for them. They got it down to 4, 3rd and long. Brown corralled. Brown tackled and sacked. The transfer, David Latu from BYU. And not what South Florida had in mind for the return of their high-tempo offense and quarterback, as they are 3 and out, and they'll punt the ball back to Boise State.
You can see Latu right there in the middle of the defense. And he's just going to work. They run a line stunt. He splits it between the guard and tackle. And you just see the effort and the discipline and the integrity along that front that's become a staple of these Boise State defenses.
So Chase Leon on to punt. Malik Sherrod deep. Not only is he going to be one of their premier running backs, he's going to be their returner as well, as he's going to let that bounce out of bounds. A good punt there from Leon, as it'll be the second possession for Boise State after the punt to 45. And we mentioned the Broncos a year ago. The 12-team playoff expanded the opportunities for teams like Boise State, first time in program history, number 3 seed in the college football playoff. We know who's not here in Ashton Jeanty. He's going to be playing for the Raiders at a high level. But what a program they've built, especially with second-year coach Spencer Danielson, just keeping the tradition of Boise State football.
26 consecutive bowl seasons. Unbelievable.
Matson, quick shot to the outside. That was Sire Gaines. Check that. Gain of 1 to Quentin Brown. Both offenses kind of taking a similar approach, although we've seen more plays out of Boise State. High percentage passes for the quarterbacks early.
Quentin Brown, just a true freshman for Boise State.
Matson forced out, throws it right, incomplete. So already again, another 3rd and long.
Be interesting here to see if South Florida decides to try to heat up Maddox Madsen. You don't have a lot of 3rd and long opportunities. We've seen them on back-to-back drives now, and they've got one of their best designated pass rushers, number 10, Ira Singleton, in the game.
That's a staple of a Todd Orlando defense. He'll cause fits. See what they do here. Matson almost intercepted. He tried to get that over the defender and just drop one in there to Cameron Bates, and Jarvis Lee Jr. almost had a pick, and already 2 possessions, 2 stops for this Bulls defense.
Jarvis Lee Jr., what a fantastic drop with his zone drop. He hits his landmark and drops right underneath the deep out route. Well, Maddox Matson thought he could sneak it right over the top, but outstanding job in zone defense for South Florida.
This is a quarterback in Matson, only had 6 interceptions a year ago, does not make many mistakes. So the fair catch now at the 25-yard line, flag down on the play. There's Josh Porter there at the 25. It gives us a chance to say hello to our referee for the first time tonight. It is Nolan Dumas and his crew working out of the Mountain West.
There are 2 fouls in the play, 1 by each team. Illegal formation on the kicking team. More than 4 players in the backfield at the snap. During the kick, holding number 31, receiving team. Those penalties offset. We'll replay 4th down.
All right, so another kick after the penalties for Boise State.
Get that opening game jitters. You're trying to get a feel for each other in the first game. You know, well, this is college football. We don't have preseason games. You don't get to go against anybody else. And every coach in America is worried about kicking game snafus, pre-snap penalties, turnovers. We're seeing a little bit of everything early on.
It's as sloppy as it's probably going to be for the entire season. At least the coaches would hope that. But they're used to playing each other. Everything's scripted in practice. But yeah, first game, you're trying to knock off some cobwebs, and hopefully those will get knocked off here as we're midway through the first quarter. As Oscar Doyle's going to putt it again to Josh Porter, situated at his 30. And he actually drives Porter deeper than he was before, tries to get to the corner, does so successfully. So, with the penalty and a little bit of a return for 11 yards, South Florida actually nets some yardage after the penalty, as we will see the Bulls offense coming up next. 0-0 in the first.
ESPN Thursday Night College Football is presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And in part by Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
Welcome back to Tampa, where Boise State and South Florida are tied 0-0. Quarterback Byron Brown of South Florida missed 8 games last season due to a lower leg injury. He is making his debut back this season. He went 3 and out on that first drive, Matt and Tom, but he was going up and down the sideline, clapping his hands, being very eager, telling his guys to keep their heads up, so he's keeping the optimism over here on the South Florida sideline, guys.
Yeah, that opening drive, Harry, 3 and out, just 1:17. Yeah. And look, we know they play quick. We expected it. We talked about it, that he's probably going to come out. First game, 11 months to the day he got hurt. Probably a little bit jittery to start the season.
And Coach Alex Gold expected that. He said he's a high-strung. He's got a sense of urgency, so we want to get him settled down early. Expect some quarterback run this drive.
Another quick throw from Brown to the outside. That's caught by Moody Rubin. Transfer in from Stanford, already has a degree from Stanford, gain of 4. He'll play the slot, tackled by Ty Benefield, one of the leading tacklers for the Broncos a year ago. First time we've seen one of the new running backs, and that's Sam Franklin, tackled by Jake Ripp. It's going to be Franklin, Norton, and Isaac, but Franklin comes in, transferred over from Oklahoma, started his career at UT Martin, where he was a heck of a player at the FCS level.
Yeah, he rushed for 1,378 yards, 11 touchdowns in 2023.
They like his shiftiness, and another early 3rd down. Brown over the middle. That is caught, had pressure. Can he get to the first down? It's going to be close. That's Keyshawn Singleton. And we're talking inches and a spot to see if the Bulls move the chains. And they moved the spot way back.
Wow.
South Florida lining up for it on 4th. They actually run the play. And if where the side judge is running in, he's going to be marked short.
He sure is.
Boise State stops him. So aggressive call out of Alex Golish. I know the quarterback 6'3", 232, but he couldn't get any penetration on the Boise State defensive line.
You've got 99 Michael Madry, 90 Braxton Feely, and David Latu, number 92, who we've talked about tonight. That's a lot of 300-pound bodies between each A-gap to each side of the center. And now you set up Boise State for tremendous field position. And what Boise State does love to do is come off play action. Maybe we see a shot here early.
And to me, Luke's, with the way that they play with tempo, we didn't get another look at the spot on the play prior to. Is now 1st and 10 Broncos. Play fake to Sire Gaines. Maddox sets his feet, takes a shot to the outside, intended for Chris Marshall. James Chenault on the coverage.
Chris Marshall, they're really excited about. He struggled to get out of his break there a little bit on the outcut. Former top 22 player overall in the ESPN 300 out of the 2022 class, 4th-ranked wide receiver. He was an Under Armour All-American, well-traveled through the portal, but they're excited about him.
Matson to throw again, has over the middle, open, it is caught. You mentioned Chris Marshall, he goes right back at him. He makes that catch and a gain of 13 and a 1st down.
That's a big-bodied 6'3", 215 pounds. He's going to go up and get it and have the ability to take it away from defenders. This is a really nice thrown ball over the linebacker level. Catchable ball for Marshall, and showing why they were so excited about him during fall camp.
Already 11 pass attempts from Matson, just 4 rushes for the Broncos early on. As it'll be gained back in the backfield, and Boise State has something going after the turnover on downs. Matson forced to run, and good pressure on that play by DJ Harris, and it'll be no gain. But I'll tell you what, the play by goal is to go for it on 4th down. That just shows you, Luke, how much confidence he has in this rebuilt defense. After the 2 stops early on, he said, guys, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to put you back in a position to help us out.
Well, they've been disruptive so far. They've forced a lot of 3rd and longs. And he's got to have confidence in this unit to this point.
That's Gaines off the left side. There goes Sire. Gaines makes a man miss, and that's a good look at what he can do. Big kid, makes a couple of tacklers miss, and now he's got another 1st down for the Broncos after a gain of 9. Kawan Banks missed the tackle, as did Rucker.
Well, you try to go low on him. This is a big cat now, 217 pounds. South Florida actually does a decent job of setting the edge right there. They just don't tackle well in the open field. Maybe this gets this run game rolling a little bit for Boise State.
So they had initially moved the chains for a 1st down. They brought it back after a gain of 9. So it's officially a 3rd and 1. That's Sherrod.
This is going to be a close spot.
And they've marked it 4th down. They put up the hand for a 4th down, so we just saw South Florida go for it on 4th down a minute ago. That a bit longer than what the Broncos have here. 4th and inches.
Well, and Sire Gaines back in the backfield, the big power backs, who you want to have personnel-wise.
Gaines. And I'm talking by the edge of that face mask. He moves the chains. It'll be a 1st down. When they're talking to Sire in the preseason, everyone wants to ask about Ashton Genty. He said he doesn't want to fill anybody's shoes. He wants his own pair of shoes. See if he gets those tonight as Riley now in play fake. Matson to the end zone. Flag on the play. Chris Marshall caught up with Deshaun Rucker.
A little bit of tussling going on between Rucker and Marshall.
Pass interference, number 22, defense. Ball be placed in the spot of foul and automatic. 1st down.
All right, so now goal to go after the penalty. And you'd mentioned he's a big kid. Chris Marshall, 6'3", 215.
Yeah, well, listen, Rucker's 6 foot, 195 pounds, and what happens is he gets that right arm wrapped around the waist of Marshall and drapes him right in front of the head linesman there on the near sideline.
Ends up being a 10-yard penalty after the spot of the foul. Ball spotted at the South Florida 4. Sire Gaines off the left side, tries to get to the goal line, and the push leaves him just short after a gain of 3. Jalen Schuler on the tackle.
And this is the area of the field where if you're South Florida on defense, you got to put your big boy pads on, because you know what Boise State's going to do. You know they're going to lean on you. They want to run the football, and they're going to impose their will on you at the point of attack. Look how quick they get to the line of scrimmage.
Matson fumbled it, was able to corral it, but not get across the goal line. And almost a disaster for Boise State as Fred Gaskin falls on him. Just a center quarterback exchange issue there.
Yeah, it seemed to come through Maddox Matson's hands. You got to give a firm lift under there. In an era of shotgun offense, that's not this.
And movement now out of the Broncos. So they've had it goal to go, stop, fumble, and now procedure.
Prior to the snap, ball start for 45. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
That was Troy Grizzle, the tight end. He'll come into the backfield in a jumbo formation.
Well, and what did we talk about, Matt? What are you concerned about in these early games? Pre-snap penalties, putting the ball on the ground, putting it in harm's way. Exactly what ends up happening right here. Just a little antsy. Looked like they were going to play pass and get that tight end leaking into the end zone. He just got ahead of himself a little bit.
So now 3rd and goal. Madsen checks. Madsen throws. Broncos strike first. That is Chris Marshall. And it's Boise State taking advantage of the turnover on downs. Did not let the penalties get him. Is Colton Boomer. The UCF transfer comes on to kick the extra point. So we talk about the running games, Luke, but it's through the air that they get their first touchdown of the season.
A lot of balance from this Boise State offense, taking care of good field position, up by 7.
We on a whole nother level. Bigger than ever, we back. Woo. Okay. We back. Okay.
You're going to see Chris Marshall right here, but look at the stacked alignment between these two. So Charles Capler's going to come right in here, and he's going to clear him out. That gives us space right there on the slant route for Chris Marshall, and it's an easy pitch and catch with no interference from the defender. And now there's so much cushion that allows the 6'3", 215-pound Marshall to bowl his way over the goal line. Nicely done in terms of taking advantage of the alignment from South Florida defensively.
And we've seen the ball possession and controlling it for Boise State to this point. Time of possession here in the first quarter. Broncos 10 minutes, 47 seconds. South Florida just 3 minutes and 3 seconds. They'll look to change that. And their third possession of the game is the ball will go into the end zone for a touchback. And I'm telling you what, this Labor Day weekend lineup just has my football hormones raging. I mean, look at all those games to open the season. Oh, by the way, watch them everywhere, especially on the all-new ESPN app as we get Labor Day weekend and the opening weekend of college football going. I mean, even Sunday night, Notre Dame, Miami. Then on Monday night, you got Bill Belichick in his debut.
Going to be a lot of fun, man.
I dare you to have more fun than we do in college football. So no first downs yet for South Florida. That's a run up the middle. Broncos right there. Nothing doing it. Cartavius Norton, first time we've called his name tonight. He's a transfer in from Charlotte as the Bulls lost all 3 of their running backs from last year, so they had to bring in a couple of transfers. Norton, one of them. Brown again brought down. He had no time to throw on that one as Boise State's defensive front got to him in a hurry. That was Braxton Feely in a loss of 8. And the 3rd tackle for loss tonight for that defense.
Just winning one-on-one matchups. That time it was number 90, as you mentioned, Feely. And they are active and disruptive up front. Now, this is a team that averaged almost 8 tackles for loss a year ago. That was 5th in the country and led the country with 55 sacks.
So another 3rd and long. 10 seconds left in the first quarter. Brown, time, takes a shot, has a receiver, caught. And that's how the first quarter ends. That is Tennessee transfer Chaz Nimrod and a gain of 37. How about that for a 3rd and 17 conversion? We haven't seen this offense do anything all night. And then Brown sets that back foot, finds Nimrod, end of 1.
Coach, obviously a big gain there to end the first quarter, but how do you get the offense rolling as we continue this football game?
Yeah, you know what? We're trying to establish the run. Obviously, that part hasn't been great. So we got to stay out of 3rd and long because that part hadn't been great. And then the 4th and 1, that wasn't great. We got to get a jump start. Hopefully that was it right there. But we've got to start being positive on 1st, 2nd down to stay out of 3rd and long because they've done a great job applying pressure.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
3rd year for Alex Golesh here at South Florida. 2 consecutive 7-6 seasons and 2 consecutive bowl wins. 2nd quarter, Matt Berry, Tom Luganville, Harry Lyles Jr. with you. Thursday night college football is back. Brown going to drop back. He's going to take another shot. Had a receiver, and he overthrows Nimrod. He had Jeremiah Irby beat, and he couldn't land it.
You know, we sat with Byron Brown this week, and I asked him specifically about the vertical throws because against Alabama a year ago, he missed on 3 of these. With a wide open target, Nimrod can really run. He's got to be able to drop that in the bucket. I know he worked it in the offseason, but you got to connect on that throw.
Ball's incomplete. Again, a quick throw for Brown to the outside, trying to get some of that yardage back. That is Nimrod again. You know, South Florida, rather, that first quarter, they got the only first down of the quarter on the very last play of it. Trying to see if they can get that offense going as we see Christian Neptune, the talented true freshman in the game for the first time tonight. A player the coach has pointed out as someone they'd like to try to get the ball. 3rd and 6. First time we've seen a run out of Byron Brown, and that's why you run this quarterback. 6'3", 232. He can run. You saw it there, a gain of 11, and now a couple of first downs here for the Bulls.
I'd keep doing it. I'd keep running it. That time you had a little option into the boundary, the short side of the field. Force Boise State to defend quarterback run tonight.
You get a first down. Here comes the tempo. Here comes a throw over the middle. Good shot. Flag down. That's Nimrod.
Holding, number 71. Offense, 10-yard penalty for the previous spot. Replay first down.
They're going to catch the Stanford transfer offensive tackle Connor McLaughlin here on the edge. And he's operating versus number 15 right here. And you're going to see him pull him and yank him down right on the edge. Right there.
Some momentum halted after the holding penalty. And again, this offensive line, some of the big news coming out of the game tonight. Derek Bowman, their left tackle, 25 career starts. He's out. They had to move their right guard, Zane Herring, to left tackle. So a bit of movement up front of the offensive line for South Florida. However, it still is a veteran group that's played a lot of college football. Brown tries to go over the middle again. That is just dropped. That was Christian Neptune, that freshman I mentioned a moment ago. You want to earn the trust of your quarterback as a true freshman, you got to catch the ball.
You got to make those plays.
Another designed run for Brown, and he makes a man miss. Another flag on the play. Is Brown able to make a couple of men miss? He's still on his feet. And unfortunately, I think that one's coming back.
Holding, number 72. Offense, 10-yard penalty for the previous spot. We'll play second down.
I'm going to get Cole Best right here. I don't know if I love this call.
Oh, wow.
I think that's a call you keep your flag in the pocket.
So our rules analyst, Jerry McGinn, he'll be with us throughout the season. I think probably a little bit too technical as that wipes a touchdown off the board. Now second penalty for holding, second and 30, and a long way to go for South Florida. And a good job there by Alvon Isaac. Gets some of it back, now makes it, based on where they were, second and 30, a little bit more manageable.
Well, not only is it more manageable, it gives you an opportunity to come away with points, which is critical off of that penalty right there. Wasn't looking overly positive.
They finally got Brown going in the running game. Is Isaac the third of the running backs we'll see tonight? Out route, low, incomplete. It's intended for Jaquan Smith. Now what do you do here, Lugs? It looks like they're gonna bring out Nico Grammatica of the Kicking Grammaticos.
Sound familiar?
By the way, his dad's record in this stadium, 55 yards. This one at 52. Three of 5 on field goals last season from 50-plus yards. Grammatica's kick. It's Tampa. Automatica. Like there was ever a doubt. Just don't do the Grammatica celebration. There you go. Just keep it simple.
Stay grounded, kid.
How about Negro Grammatica? 52 yards. Laces in. Didn't matter. Down the middle. South Florida on the board. 7-3 early second quarter. I'm just telling you, the celebration of Lee Corso on Saturday in his final college football game is going to be absolutely remarkable, to a legend and a face of our sport. We've woken up with you on Saturdays for decades, and it's going to be a special moment, Lugs.
Absolutely it is. It's going to be an electrifying atmosphere as well. You couldn't find a better place to put a bow on it for Lee Corso.
And there's easily going to be at least 5 guy cries over under. Sherrod at the goal line. Past his 10, tries to extend it to the sideline, can't do it, dropped it to 15, and a good job by the special teams of South Florida, and that's Cedric Hawkins, as we take a look at our impact players built by the Home Depot.
It's the 2 running backs. Obviously, when you talk about replacing a guy of the magnitude of Ashton Genty, you're not going to do it with one player, and it's probably not going to look the same. But with Sire Gaines, we talked about him being the Thunder, the Fresno State transfer Malik Sherrod being the Lightning, and really they started to get going that last scoring drive for Boise State. Let's see if they can continue the tempo on the ground.
Maybe a bit of a surprise. Madsen, 12 pass attempts already early on, but they're going to stick to the ground. It's what they do, but South Florida's much improved defensive front was there. That's Schuler, the running back. And what they said to us in their meetings, when they bring in some of these bodies they did, like Devin Lee out of Vanderbilt, Josh Salazar out of Texas A&M, it's going to free up those talented linebackers to make plays like that.
Well, you just mentioned Devin Lee. He is the one who was able to hold up the center at the point of attack to allow Schuler to shoot the gap there and make the tackle.
So a loss of 2. Shotgun for Madsen. Over the top, incomplete. That was intended for Marshall, who had the touchdown for Boise. And now a 3rd and 12. Good job on coverage there from Jonas DeClona. He came in from Wisconsin. They said he's been pushing Rucker for that job at corner. We're seeing a lot of these transfer players coming up big early.
We are. We're also seeing way too many 3rd and longs for both teams, but particularly for Boise State, who's not accustomed to playing in this role offensively.
To the sideline, and a good throw from Maddox Madsen. What a dart to Latrell Caples, and that's going to be a first down after a gain of 15.
What a terrific rhythm throw. Watch Maddox Madsen get back, plant, ball out, and sticks it right on him. He throws out to the outside. Banks intercepts that football. That ball was thrown to the only spot it could be thrown to be caught. And what a reception to get Boise State offense out of a hole.
Yeah, Kawan Banks was just lurking. And Madsen put it on his guy for a gain of 15 and a huge first down. That's Gaines. Can't get much going in the early on. A great job by the Bulls rush defense tonight. Denard Flowers, transfer from Murray State. He was going to have to be huge tonight because Michael Williams II, he's not playing for the Bulls.
Listen, I'm really impressed with this South Florida defensive front holding up at the point of attack. Boise State's used to pushing people around. That's not happening so far here in the first half.
Just 92 total yards for the Broncos, 26 on the ground. Gaines still in the backfield. Madsen looking left, goes left, off the hands of DeClona, who's been big on this series. That was intended for Marshall.
That's twice tonight that I've seen Chris Marshall struggle to get out of his break, the out-cutting routes with burst and urgency. You got to snap your head around and get out of that break because you got a rhythm and timing throw, and now you're sitting in 3rd and 10 once again.
This now the 4th third down of 9 or more yards to your point. Just converted on 12. Madsen out of the pocket, dumps it down to Gaines. He tries to truck over some Bulls defenders, and they weren't having it. Jalen Shuler and Kawan Banks. And another punt and stop of this high-powered Boise State offense.
I think the thing that's impressive is not just as we talked about the South Florida front, but the back end, which a year ago was abysmal when it came to giving up explosive plays and big gainers through the air. They've kept the ball in front of them so far tonight.
Luke, they were 127th in the country, 13th in the American in pass defense a year ago. Josh Porter fair catches it at his 20. Well, we thought we'd have some offensive output. Combined 10 points, it's fine, we're having fun. We are back at a time to take a look at tonight's game flow, brought to you by Progressive. And Luke's, we kind of saw Byron Brown wake up on that last possession.
Well, he identifies the flat-footed safety right there on the 30-yard line. It hits Chaz Nimrod on the post. It finally gets him out of a hole and in positive field position. And then, again, more of this needs to happen. They're going to isolate the defender, put him in a conflict of assignment, speed option to the boundary, and Byron Brown gets rolling. And then this was really the save of the last drive. He takes what the defense gives him, dumps it off to the backfield, and then puts him in position to actually kick a field goal and come away with points. So big for the South Florida offense.
After losing that 39-yard TD because of a holding penalty, but you look at what's gone on the first 2 drives of the night. They at least got some points out of that. And you're right, that 15-yard screen check down to Sherrod. Check that to
Alvin Isaac, I believe.
Isaac was huge for them. Hey, look, we found Martin Gramatica. I'm telling you, Jason Greenberg, he's like our CIA operative. You put him on something, he'll find it. Hello, Martin. The kicker and Gramaticas are alive and well here in Tampa. Quick end around to the speedy freshman Neptune. That's Marco Notriani on the tackle. There's no gain.
Marco Notriani chasing it down. Talk about an effort-based play.
And I'll tell you, give a lot of credit to this Broncos rush defense. They've not allowed positive yardage on the night for South Florida. That was Jake Ripp bringing down kind of a muddled play there from Byron Brown and Cartavius Norton.
Yeah, look like they botched the snap a little bit in the exchange.
So another 3rd and long, kind of the story of the first half for both of these teams. Brown had time, and then the pocket just collapsed around him. That was Braxton Feely, and that's also going to be a flag. You rarely see Boise State commit self-inflicted wounds.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 4, defense, 15-yard penalty for the dead ball spot, and automatic. First down.
You know, you're 100% correct. That's uncharacteristic to Boise State's nature. As we take another look, and he just throws him down late. I like this call. South Florida bailed out right there.
Because he had time to throw.
He had time to throw it. He's got to get the ball out of his hand, and they caught Boise State late to line up on defense. So you should have had an extra beat there to get through your progression, get the ball out of your hand.
So question is, what do they do with the penalty that extended this drive? 15 yards, personal foul. Just a little bit of out of sync tonight as South Florida, as Byram's going to run it again. I tell you what, when I said that he's big, he just went low on Banks and won that one for a gain of 10.
Davin Banks tries to come up and set the edge right there. Not going to happen against the 230-pounder and Byram Brown. No, he reminds me of the physical build of Dante Culpepper when he was at UCF.
Oh, what a shot over the middle to Singleton. He's their big play receiver from a year ago. Ty Benefield brings him down. And so, Luke's, here you have it. Big penalty, extends the drive. Byram Brown got payback on Davin Banks, who threw him down for the personal foul. And now you got Singleton for 37.
And you got Byram Brown getting the ball out of his hand quickly.
Does so again. Quick shot to the outside. That's Josh Porter. It was Irby who knocked him out of bounds, and with this offense, it can flip in a second.
Well, and then that's when they start getting cranked up with the pace of play. Listen, it's hard to go fast. It's even harder to go fast and execute. And if you're struggling to get first downs, you are forced to then slow down and back off the pedal. Now they've got Boise on their heels a little bit defensively.
After having the punter coming on for South Florida, the penalty did it, and that's going to be movement on the Bulls.
And now that allows Boise State to substitute, get some fresh legs in there along the defensive line. It is a hot evening.
False start, number 67, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
There's Thomas Schrader, the left guard, App State transfer.
Number 91 for Boise State, the true freshman defensive end, Bowl. They love this kid. You don't often see a lot of freshmen, particularly up front for Boise, get some looks. They think he's got a chance to be a special player. He comes in on 2nd and long.
You also don't often see someone named Bowl twice. I didn't have that one on my name card. That was a great job. Staying in the pocket. Ball comes out. Benefield forced the fumble, and I think Jeremiah Koger was able to fall back on it. He did. The true freshman from Baltimore. But did he have possession?
Did he complete the act of the catch and maintain possession of the football? Because it looks like he's bobbling a little bit there. As he's trying to secure the football, he takes a couple of steps.
So Marion McCoy's down for Boise State. And we'll check in with our rules official, Jerry McGinn, on the other side of this to see if the play was completed. Again, right now, it's a Koger fumble recovery. All right, we are back. They have just ruled that this was an incomplete pass. Want to bring in our rules official this season, Jerry McGinn, former Big Ten official. Jerry, do you agree with this call to overturn it as an incomplete pass?
I totally agree. Yes, totally agree. The receiver never had full possession of the ball. The defensive back knocks it completely loose. So it's a good job by replay to overturn this and make it an incomplete pass.
All right, so now it'll be work again for South Florida. It'd have been favorable for them had the fumble been recovered by Boise State, but he was able to fall on it. Was Koger, the true freshman. Now it's just a 3rd and 10.
Just couldn't secure the ball, even though he took a few steps, juggling the ball all the way through contact with that safety.
Would have been 1st and goal at the 4. They have a timeout.
First, charge him out of the half. Boise State, 30 seconds.
So Spencer Danielson. Haven't talked about him much as we've gotten into this broadcast, but second-year guy, bleeds Boise State, leads them to the playoff in his first season. What an enjoyable coach to be around and just talk to.
There are very few coaches as appreciative of the opportunity as that man is right there. He bleeds this program. He loves these kids. For him, it's all about player development. It's about impacting lives. And listen, the culture is what it is. That's an overly used word and cliche, but there has been no college football program the last 25 years that has maintained the consistency and the success rate more so than Boise State, and they do not deviate from that plan.
19 seasons with at least 10 wins going back to 96. That's tied with Oklahoma and Alabama. That's what success looks like. 3rd and 10. Just under midway here through the second quarter, first half. It's been entertaining. Can Brown add some yardage? Has to stake away from the pocket. He's got space. There goes Byram. Touchdown, Bulls! Just when you think you've got him bottled up, he escaped the sack, went 23 yards, and remember, this drive was a 3-and-out until Boise State committed the penalty, and because of it, South Florida's up 9-7, an extra point away from being up 10-7. We talked about this electrifying quarterback in the open, Luke. This was it personified.
No question. You take a look here. They're going to go here, and they're going to loop him around, but pay attention to the back because the quarterback's going to work here and then take off, but the back ends up clipping. Number 5 right there for Boise State coming inside on the rush and creates an open lane. That front door opens in the middle of that defense, and then it's all 230 pounds of Byron Brown lowering the shoulder on Ty Benefield and go back to that penalty.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about it. This was just a 3-and-out.
Yep.
And they go down the field and they take advantage of it. But how about the quarterback? I mean, he's looking for contact.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he is.
He's like, I'm bigger than you.
He's looking for content, but he's also setting a tone. Did you hear this crowd? When he lowered his shoulder with no need to do so to cross the goal line, crowd erupted.
I mean, running to the Bulls early, that dude just lowers his shoulder, makes a couple of the Boise State defenders pay, and it's 10-7. Home team.
And Matt, if you're Alex Golish, you got to have a conversation with your quarterback. If you don't like the read, 1, 2, take off and run. Utilize your legs. Don't take negative plays. Don't put our offense in jeopardy by getting behind the chains. If you don't like it, find yourself a crease and take off. Use that big body and those legs and that athleticism.
Adam Zuagi to kick. Malik Sherrod, the Fresno State transfer, deep to receive. And a momentum switch here in Tampa as that's going to go into the end zone for a touchback. For 20 years, Allstate has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating to the university's athletic scholarship fund, supporting all student athletes. Thank you, Allstate. So what does Maddox Madsen have with 6.5 left in the first half, down 10-7? 3rd and long has been the undoing, at least early on, for the Broncos. Yet to get the running game going. It's Sire Gaines in the backfield, and that'll be a penalty on the Bulls to start this drive. Devin Lee out of Vanderbilt.
Prior to the snap, offside, number 99, defense with contact, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I mean, Luke, I know we focus on the South Florida offense because it's entertainment.
Sure.
But we haven't talked about Todd Orlando and his unit enough tonight and what they've been able to do in this first half.
And what a turnaround. I know it's week 1. I know it's the opener. But this is a team that's playing completely the opposite of how they played a year ago.
So now 1st and 5, the give to Sire Gaines. Had one man to beat, and he did that. There's a look at what he can do as he gets to the outside, makes a man miss. Ward brings him down in a gain of 14. It was Rucker who missed the tackle.
That's twice we've now seen a really nice display of contact balance. He's got super quick feet for how big he is. Tough to get him knocked off of his feet, and then he's always falling forward.
Boy, he looks the Boise State running back
He
part,
does.
doesn't he?
Yeah.
Why not give it to him again? See if he can get some momentum. He does, had a crease. And so you get a gain of 14, then a gain of 9. Jarvis Lee Jr. brings him down.
Line up and do it again. Now you got the Fresno State transfer, Malik Sherrod, coming in. He's going to add a little bit more of a scat back type dimension, a little more explosive through the hole.
I mean, it's cliche, thunder and lightning, and we can't come up with anything better, but that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
We've got to come up with something. Sherrod up the middle. A gain of 5. Mac Harris tripped him up. We've seen a little bit of everything in this first half, but what we've seen is each team stay true to who they are, at least offensively.
And this is where Todd Orlando, the defensive coordinator for South Florida, gets worried. This is where the play action pass comes and a potential shot over the top. They got to keep the ball in front of them.
And there's that play fake. Does he take the shot over the middle? He does. What a grab. First time we've called Matt Lauder's name tonight. Matt's had put it right on Big 85, and that'll be another first down, gain of 19.
Well, Maddox Madsen needs to buy.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, 99, defense for a late hit on the quarterback. The penalty, of course, happened to the goal for the dead ball spot and automatic. First down.
All right, so that's the second penalty on Devin Lee in this drive as they get him for roughing the passer. So you're going to tack on yardage.
See the play action pass right here, and it's an unnecessary shove. And that's why you draw the flag. But if you're Maddox Madsen, you're gonna thank Matt Lauder, buy him an ice cream cone later tonight, because he made a play on a football that was thrown in traffic. That's why he's one of the best tight ends in America.
So now 1st and 10, ball at the 11.5. We've seen each team commit those penalties that just give the other team momentum, as Sherrod brought down in the backfield. There was DeClona, who's had a good night tonight. Good first half. The transfer out of Wisconsin.
And the edge right there where that tackle was made is where South Florida has missed tackles tonight. They've had people in position with their run fits. They've just missed the tackle.
Yeah, we're seeing some first game stuff.
Yep.
Prior to the snap, ball start for 75. Offense, 5-yard penalty.
That's Daylon Matoyer. I mean, look, the procedure penalties are one thing. The personal foul stuff is that's just not smart.
No.
There's a difference between the penalties we've seen. One that led to a touchdown for South Florida, and one from South Florida that led to this field position for Boise State. So now 2nd and 14. Gaines, space, ball's out, picked up by South Florida. Another turnover for this Bulls defense. That is the talented Ira Singleton. Right place, right time. And South Florida with the ball and 3 timeouts left.
And it's Jonas DeClona one more time, putting his hat right on the football, stepping up. Up DeClona, pop! Ball comes right out. And that's what happens when you've got your color jerseys running to the football. That ball goes on the ground. And Singleton, I mentioned earlier, the true sophomore, 6'5", 240 pounds, turning and running to the football. That looked like it was going to be a potential first down, and instead a change of possession.
You look at that number there, 11-1 when creating multiple takeaways. That's 2 here in the first half. That one huge because Boise State looked poised to get points. So here comes Brown. Designed run, already saw him score a touchdown, minimal gain there. It's Jaden Virgin Morgan. Hadn't called his name much tonight. Cleats are now slip-ons.
Yep. You talk about that turnover. You know, South Florida last year was +7 in turnover margin. Should be resulting in some more wins. Obviously, you had the injury to Byron Brown a year ago, but they're making all the right moves when it comes to protecting the ball and creating turnovers.
Hallmark of that defense, aggressive under Todd Orlando. Speaking of aggressive, Jaden Virgin Morgan, again, hadn't called the preseason All-American's name much, but he's been active on the last 2 plays, bringing up a 3rd and long. So a back and forth first half. 3 timeouts left for the Bulls. 3rd and 6. Check that, 3rd and 10.
His last 3 plays of 3rd and 6 or more resulted in a 37-yard pass, an 11-yard run, and a 23-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that was a good time. 2-minute timeout as you're watching Kickoff Week presented by Modelo. The 2-minute timeout. Bulls with the ball and the lead, 10-7 in the first half.
Kevin Connors in studio coming up at the half. Much more on the NFL blockbuster that has rocked the sports world. The Dallas Cowboys sending best linebacker in football, Micah Parsons, to the Green Bay Packers. Much more. Sam Acho, EJ Manuel in studio. Adam Schefter on how this deal got done. Matt, get up. First Take have called emergency meetings to discuss this.
Oh, this is catnip. This is catnip for Get Up and First Take.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, I just want to hug all my friends out in DFW. First Luca, now Micah. The Cowboys documentary dropped. 3rd and 10. First things first. Dangerous throw to the outside. Can't complete it. And so it'll be a punt. And Boise State now under the 2-minute timeout with 2 timeouts remaining. I mean, can we talk about the Micah trade for a minute?
Sure, go right ahead.
What in the Jerry Jones are they doing? Look, they got 2 first-round picks.
In back-to-back years.
And are you paying $200 million? I don't know. I don't know. All right, so a fair catch there at the 23-yard line as we take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Verbo and Micah Parsons, Penn State Nittany Lions, who I believe, at least going into week 1, them and Clemson, I believe, are the most talented teams in the country based on what they have coming back. Yeah, they don't have quarterback questions. Right. They've got veterans.
Listen, Matt, I think the thing that's interesting to note with this year, I think it may be the best quarterback group of returning quarterbacks we've seen in 20 years. However, at the same time, look at the Blue Bloods returning, having to replace their quarterback. Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, Michigan.
There are so many questions at the top-heavy rankings of who's going to play quarterback.
Yep.
And so we'll see that manifest itself for the first couple of weeks of the season. We check in with Harry.
I talked to a lot of Boise State players earlier this week about was where Maddox Madsen improved this season. A lot of them said as a leader. After that last drive, when the team was coming over, obviously there was some frustration. He gathered the offense together before they sat down, encouraged them to keep their heads up that they're going to get this thing right before letting them get back over the bench. He also went over to his offensive line and told them to keep it up, that they'd make it through this.
Yeah, Harry, right on cue. Here's a returning quarterback for Boise State, and on the other side of South Florida. These are the teams you got to watch in the early part of the season. Second down, Madsen, quick shot over the middle. Again, 2 timeouts remaining. That to Ben Ford.
Little hurry up here from Boise State.
Yeah, I'm not.
Prior to the snap,
Yeah.
the previous play was stopped for further review.
Okay, I'm glad the spot looked generous from up here, and the whistle seemed early.
Yep.
So you knew something was coming.
Maddox Madsen couldn't snap the ball fast enough.
You talked about tempo with this offense. They're looking at the spot. I'll take another look at it here. Yeah, I don't know that should take long.
No, it really shouldn't.
Jerry McGinn, our rules analyst, former Big Ten official, is going to be joining us this year. Look, we don't have our referee degree, but I'd imagine this one's pretty easy, right?
This should be a quick one. So they'll bring it back. It will not be first down. But because they're going to go to a running clock, they will have an opportunity to subtract 10 seconds, or one of the teams can take a timeout.
Jerry, thank you, but oxymoron in football parlance, review, quick one.
Yeah, true.
That doesn't tend to happen.
Well, and it's a great reminder, though, on the potential 10-second runoff with 1:04 left to go. A lot of real estate in front of this Boise State offense as we take another look at the spot here.
So it'll be inches short. I mean, it's not egregious, but no. He's going to be an inch or so short, so they'll have to make sure the spot is done appropriately. Again, Broncos 2 timeouts. We're talking about some things that have been uncharacteristic of this Boise State program in the first half. The roughing the passer that led South Florida down the end zone. Wait for the call here. Oh, they're still going. Down the field for the touchdown.
Sure.
And then the ball security. We don't normally see them make many mistakes that way.
Especially red zone ball security. You know, that's...
See what happens when I say this should be quick?
Honestly,
Oh, college football's back. I think they're doing some clock work as well.
Well, and they've got to get that right, as Jerry mentioned, with the potential 10-second runoff possibly coming on top of this. But the call itself is a no-brainer. He's short of the line.
All right, so the decision now, there's going to be a 10-second runoff. So the decision now for Spencer Danielson, do you use one of your 2 timeouts?
I don't think so. I think you save them.
I mean, at this point, you've had about...
Well, right now you're having a timeout.
You're being... No, that's being generous.
Yeah.
You're being blessed with a stoppage.
They've rewritten the playbook over there.
After review, the runner was down short of the goal line at the 32.5-yard line with the game clock at 1:15. By rule, this situation qualifies for a 10-second runoff. With the game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 1:05, please. 1:05.
Okay. So it's been sorted out. 1:05. They're going to start on the ready. And it's going to be a 3rd down. 3rd and 1. Madsen under center. And he's going to sneak it right up there. And whereas Byron Brown's 6'3", 230, Madsen's 5'10", 207.
But when you think about it, what is your expectation on defense? They're going to turn around and hand it off,
That's right? Yep. Just snuck his way under there for the first down. Now under a minute and ticking. 2 timeouts remaining. Madsen time. Forced out of the spot. Immediate hit. What a play on Sherrod by Mac Harris. The linebackers of this unit lead them, Harris and Schuler. 42 combined starts between the two. And you've seen their experience tonight early on. All right, so the second timeout now for Boise State. Now, look, this has been a big week. Big couple of weeks. The all-new ESPN app, the best way to watch sports, all of ESPN, all in one place, live games, live stats, plus you can track your fantasy teams and personalize your favorite leagues, teams, and players. The personalization with the app is one of the best parts of the app.
No question about it.
Like if I just want all Arizona State stuff,
Why would you not?
I get all Arizona State's.
Oh, I already know how you signed up.
Password Sparky. Second down. Madsen over the middle. What a grab! He tossed that up to Ben Ford, the fifth-year senior. He came down with it and a gain of 24.
Fantastic throw down the seam just before James Chenault, number 9, could get in front of it.
Now they're in business. Still the one timeout. Madsen off his pocket. Juggled. Intended for Lauder. They're going to rule it incomplete. He bobbled it, didn't have possession of it. So now you're seeing a veteran quarterback in this 2-minute offense, knows he has the timeouts.
And now you need to see the veteran quarterback understand the moment, know where he's at on the field, and ensure that you come away with some points here.
Again pressured. Again incomplete. And this defensive front for South Florida against a veteran offensive line has forced Madsen off his reads, Luke. He's forced out of the pocket and can't find anybody open.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of affecting the quarterback and then keeping the ball in front of him, not letting any target hit downfield for Maddox Madsen to find. And now you've got a big 3rd and 10. Get half of this back if you're Boise. Give yourself a chance here.
See if they can get Colton Boomer, the field goal kicker, a chance to tie the game at the half. And there's movement again from the Broncos.
Ball start for 75. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That's twice, Matt. Twice on Matoyer.
I'm telling you, each of these coaches will go back into the locker room and have guys get self-inflicted wounds.
Absolutely. They're beside themselves. And you warn your team about it, you talk about it, you preach it, you practice it. And it's your biggest worry, particularly in week 1.
And now it's 3rd and 15 at a field goal range. Madsen checks down to try to get something back. And it was a minimal gain at best by Sherrod. Schuler chases him out of bounds and a gain of 5.
See what Spencer Danielson and this Boise State staff are looking at here.
Colton Boomer's career long was against Boise State while with UCF at 55 yards. This would be much deeper than that.
And remember, South Florida gets the ball coming out of the locker room to start the 3rd quarter.
Big play. Yeah. This is good coaching here by Spencer Danielson. Back him up, get the punt, pin him.
Yep. Pop the ball up high.
At this point, with a little bit of momentum going for South Florida offensively, you just don't want to mess with it.
No question. Listen, get in the locker room, regroup, and have a heck of a football game here in the second half.
So Josh Porter deep to receive the punt. South Florida nearly got. That's going to go into the end zone for a touchback. Look, all 3 timeouts left remaining. I'd be stunned. I know Alex Golis likes fun, loves offense. You've got a 10-7 lead against the 25th ranked team in the country. You hadn't been clicking on all cylinders.
Right.
The ball. At this point, what's your vote? Is this bang a knee and go to the half, or are they going to run a play?
They may run a play, but understand they know they're getting the ball. We just mentioned coming out of the locker room. Do not do anything backed up that could jeopardize that. Don't want any negativity. Let's just make sure we get ourselves in the locker room, prepare for that next opening offensive drive.
That's right.
Refreshed, regrouped in the locker room.
And you've played a good first half.
Yeah.
This is where Mullen would snap at me for how dare I question a coach. Yeah, right up the middle. But see, Lugs nailed it.
There you go.
You run a play, you sit on the lead, and you get the ball to start the third quarter. Entertaining first half as South Florida, the home team, is up 10-7. Let's go to Kevin Connors, EJ Manuel, and Sam Acho after the break as South Florida's up 10-7.
You're watching Kickoff Week, presented by Modelo.
And you're watching the American Conference on ESPN as we welcome you to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Liberty Mutual. We are near downtown Tampa for the opener tonight between South Florida and Boise State. And right now it's the Bulls on top 10-7 of last year's playoff darling Boise State. It was an entertaining first half. Tom Luganville and Matt Berry back with you. I say entertaining because there's a lot of that first game stuff you would expect.
Sure.
And you have to give South Florida credit. They've taken advantage of some Boise State miscues.
Well, they've hung in there, and Boise State, to your point, has made some uncharacteristic miscues that really is not part of this program's DNA. You see this turnover first for Boise State. You look at all those black jerseys for South Florida around the football. Then you get a post-snap penalty. We've seen multiple pre-snap procedure penalties from Boise State. And then this big guy, Byron Brown, using those big, thick legs. His ability as a runner has been the difference for this offense in the first half.
And if you look statistically at what's going on, another turnover for Boise State near the end of the first half, they've really dominated in every statistical category. Yep. But the only one that matters right now is the score. And Maddox Madsen, that veteran quarterback, down 10-7. We're going to see Byron Brown and the South Florida offense first, as they just ran a play at the end of the half, lived to lead another day. As we begin the third quarter here in Tampa, we check in with Harry.
Matt, I caught up with Boise State head coach Spencer Danielson coming out of the locker room. I said, hey, what'd you tell your guys in there? He said, look, we have them right where we want them. Punch, 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 wear them out, wear them out, wear them out. And now it's time to throw the knockout blow.
By the way, Harry and the Pirate Ship won. New season, new look. Harry with the lip sweater.
We need an eye patch. If you're going to be on a pirate ship, we need an eye patch, Harry.
Got to have one sent down, guys.
Harry with the mustache. And we'll see what Boise State does in the second half. See if they can't fight their way back into this one. Close game, 10-7. Cartavius Norton in the backfield. Quick shot from Brown. We saw a lot of that in the first half, and that's Weston Wolf. Missed a good part of last year because of an injury. And that's a gain of 7 to start the third quarter. Empty backfield, designed run. Brown recognized it immediately, as did Boise State's defense. He was able to make something out of nothing there. Jake Ripp right there and a gain of 2.
That Jake Ripp ends up making the play, but Jaden Virgil Morgan ends up missing the play in the backfield. Would have been a loss of about 3 yards.
So now 3rd and short. And right up the middle, it'll be a first down for the Bulls. That was Notriani. And Norton, as we have an injured. And that's Marco Notriani, who made the tackle. Well, they take care of him. When you look now, another storyline we didn't discuss coming out on camera was the fact that both of these teams have put themselves in these 3rd and longs in the first half, making it even more difficult for them to extend the drive.
Well, that's what, there's not a lot of play calls in the book for 3rd and long, and it puts you in obvious passing situations. And when you're South Florida and you want to go at the pace and the tempo that they want to play at, you have to get first downs early. That's what sets up who you are as an offense, and they didn't have that in the first half. Looks like they're off to a fine start here in the third quarter.
Again, total yards favors Boise State. There's good news for Notriani. He's able to get up and walk off. One of the leaders on this defense, one of the veterans returning on this defense, a 5th-year senior. And the linebacker got his nose right up in there. And by the way, Cartavius Norton's not small. He's 5'11", 222. What did you call him in the pregame? A keg?
A keg. Yeah, he's a keg wearing a number.
Think these kids at South Florida had any kegs in the tailgate lot?
Might have been a few we spotted on our way in.
We're so back. 1st and 10. Play fake. Brown holds on to it, and Boise State gets to him. He doesn't make that first read. He holds on to it, and he paid for it again. Loss of 1.
Fortunately, you get back close to the line of scrimmage, but here we go, backed up once again. And they're going to try and go fast. They got to get lined up top.
Got the 4th sack of the night for a unit that led the country in sacks a year ago. Norton right up the gut. I just mentioned it, the 3rd and longs, and they've got 3rd and 9 Howloots.
Going to be on the center, and Cole Best.
They want disconcerting signals, though, or sounds. You can see Byram pointing at the official.
Pretty hearty clap by Byram Brown.
Illegal snap on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Watch Cole Best, number 72. He's going to flinch upon that clap.
Yeah.
Ever so subtle.
All right, so now 3rd and 14.
Alex Golis, head coach at South Florida, going, guys, we're going backwards.
And really the story of the first half has bled into the second half. So you see 4 receivers top of your screen, bunch formation. As Weston Wolf motions to the other side, the quick screen over the middle. That's Singleton trying to get some yards back, not going to be enough, and Boise State's defense going to do their job as Banks brings him down after 8. So 20 seconds left on the play clock. They're not in any hurry to rush the punter out there. Sherrod's going to situate around his 10-yard line. Chase Leon to punt. Play clock at 5. They just get it off. Leon, or rather Sherrod, a fair catch at the 10. So one of the storylines going in, or actually the storyline coming into this game with Boise State, is Ashton Jeanty. You look at his prolific season a year ago. That is what they have to replace, and you're not going to do that with one player. Their hope this year is to do it with a combination of Sherrod and Sire Gaines, to not necessarily duplicate that, but get the same amount of production they would like out of the running.
Yeah, and they're going to grow into that. They're going to develop into that. They've got an older back in Sherrod, the Fresno State transfer. Sire Gaines is the young horse in the backfield, and they're going to get there. Just may not happen overnight.
And just 61 yards rushing in the first half. That's Sherrod, and he can't get away from that defense. That's DeClona, who has just been all over this game tonight. The transfer from Wisconsin, they told us he was pushing Deshaun Rucker for time, and if he keeps playing like this, he's not leaving the field.
Well, he's done a fantastic job of when Boise State's tried to spill and bounce that ball to the outside, they've set the edge, and he's leveraged the ball back inside where all of his partners are wearing black jerseys. And now we have, again, Boise State, Matt, 2nd and long.
Play clock at 1. Matson gets it off. Pressured. Sacked. Rigo Watson. The transfer from Florida State, and Robert Morris just made his announcement to Matson.
Well, he gets a beat. First step quickness off the edge, and Matoyer's laid out of his stance, and then it's his hips parallel with the sideline, and it was over before it began.
And this new look Todd Orlando defense has Boise State pinned. And that's a flag. Matson's going to fake it. He's going to take a shot upfield, and that's going to go right to the sideline and out of bounds. Intended for Chris Marshall. James Chenault on the coverage. The 5th pre-snap penalty of the game for Boise State. It's been the story, and now they're punting out of their own end zone.
And really the first time the crowd's really gotten involved and affected the Boise State offense. And if Maddox Madsen could have kept that ball in bounds to the 6'3" Chris Marshall, he's got a chance for a 50-50 ball completion and a fresh set of downs.
There is no space for error for the punter. He's just going to quick hit it. One step and kick. And all things considered, ball bounces out at the 49-yard line. And a punt of 47. So Doyle gets the punt off. South Florida's defense stepped up. We'll see what their offense can do when we return. We are all the way back because there's the Taco Bell Liv Moss student section. Only one student section can claim the title of Liv Moss Student Section of the Year. Who will take home the trophy this year? That's a choice, by the way. That is a choice that you make in this weather to come out in body paint and chest hair. That's just a vibe.
Where's the beefy 5-layer burrito?
Oh, God, in this heat.
Give me a little gordita crunch, will you?
Best starting field position for South Florida. At least the booth is open air. Brown. He's kind of missed on his timing. That to Nimrod. Nimrod had his guy beat, and he threw it behind him.
Yeah, he's just got a little bit of sloppy footwork back there. There's no urgency with his feet to get planted, get set, step into it, and throw a strike. Looks like he's aiming the football a little bit. You got to complete that ball if you're Byron Brown.
Again, 11 months to the day since his injury, showing a bit of rust. And there's Franklin trying to bounce off a couple of tacklers. Does a good job to really just get anything. And just like that, again, 3rd and long.
Credit the defensive front 7 for both of these ball clubs. They've put a lot of pressure on the opposing offenses, created a lot of negative plays. As you mentioned, 3rd and long very often.
No Triani is back on the field for the Broncos. Brown had plenty of time, goes back to the other side, gets something. And now you wonder with the gain of 3, bringing up a 4th and 6. Kind of in no man's land. I know they've got a Grammatica kicking for him, but even that seems a bit.
Oh, you got to punt this, and the reason why you punt it is you play field position because your defense playing lights out right now. They're owning the line of scrimmage versus Boise State, who's used to being able to really just lean on people, create gaps, create big runs, 3rd and 2nd and short. That's not been the case tonight. Rely on this defense if you're Alex Golish.
You just wonder who's going to break through at some point. Fake! He's got him! What a call! Singleton! Balls! Touchdown! They snuck in Lachlan Hewitt, the quarterback. Unbelievable. If your offense won't move the ball, what the hell? Fake a punt.
We heard Alex Golesh in his pregame speech to his football team. He said, what makes us different tonight? That makes you different tonight.
Their big play receiver at the end of last season, they said Keyshawn Singleton, he came on. He was a guy that needs to be out there and perform for us. 6'3", 215. What a play. Lachlan Hewlett, they told us before the game they're excited about his future at quarterback. You just saw why. A fake punt to Singleton. And we are running with the Bulls in Tampa. They've got 25 on the ropes. 17-7 in the third. You are for sure going to see that play on the new ESPN app, Luke.
Well, he sneaks on there and he kind of just casually trots, and nobody picks up on it. The defense and the punt return unit doesn't even notice, and nobody on the Boise State sideline up top is jumping and hollering and screaming that the punter's not on the field.
That was Lachlan Hewlett, true freshman out of St. Augustine, Florida. Dad's a quarterback coach. Alex Golesh told us pregame, he's like, see that kid? He pointed to him.
He's going to be the guy.
He said, see that kid? That's a guy.
Yep.
And that guy just came in and threw a 45-yard touchdown pass to give the Bulls a 17-7 lead. And it's really remarkable when you consider how both offenses have kind of been stuck in some quicksand, and there really hasn't been much. And Golesh is like, I don't know how much more our defense can do for us. They've been playing a hell of a ball game. I need to do something. And they
got to have a spark. You got to have something in the tool bag to say, hey, if the opportunity presents itself, we didn't come here to play safe. You're at home up against the premier Group of 5 program over the course of the last 25 years of college football. Now let's see if the Broncos have an answer.
The last 4 drives, 3 punts and a turnover. Dylan Riley's going to get his turn in the backfield. Matson's going to play fake, roll out. Execution there to Ben Ford. Faked it left, booted right. Going to mark him just short of the first down.
Jonas DeClona again making plays, this time not in run support, coming up and making a tackle after the catch.
Rushing game of the Broncos that they've been noted for in their entire program history, just 54 rushing yards on the night. 10-plus games a year ago of 220-plus yards rushing. And that'll be good enough for a first down on 2nd and 1. We've seen this program battle back time and time again. Some uncharacteristic football out of them tonight. Still plenty to play here midway through the third quarter. Another play fake. Another pass rush. Batted down. Jalen Shuler. That was Salazar, the transfer from Texas A&M. One of those veteran defensive linemen. He's wearing the 63 jersey. This is the guy that they said has come in. He's a captain, and he just transferred in. What does that say about him?
I know it. He got here last spring and has basically gotten this entire team behind him and splits the guard and the tackle right there. Great pursuit, great pressure, and again, affecting the quarterback is what South Florida's done tonight with this front.
2nd and 10. Madsen, he's forced to come off his spot all night long. Let's check in with Harry on Salazar in the jersey.
Matt, I got to tell you, they gave him the number for a reason. It is because of that intensity and because of that leadership. After that hit that he had on Maddox Madsen towards him, he would not stop staring him down. This is a defense that told me earlier this week they were going to be running and hitting, and they are not letting anybody down thus far.
Another third down. The 63 journey honors the legacy of Leroy Selman. And that was Chenault on Ford. And now it's fourth down.
Been really impressed with the South Florida's team ability to do two things on defense. Keep the ball in front of you and then tackle in space. Don't allow the short underneath stuff to turn into a 20, 25, 35-yard gain.
All right, so this is fourth down. They've got the offense on here now. They're going to run the play. Madsen, nowhere to go. Tries to do it with his feet and gets it. Maddox Madsen was dead to rights until he cut back and got 9. Sire gains a key block to spring him loose. He got away from Schuler, and that's a drive-saving play on a fourth down out of their veteran quarterback.
Just an outstanding job of navigating the pocket. He wanted to throw the underneath crossing route. It's not there. Has a feel for the walls closing in, and then understands what he's got to do to move the chains.
Huge play for the Broncos. Another play action pass. Plenty of time. Dumps it down to Gaines. There's a gain of 6. And an injured player for South Florida. That's Devin Lee, the transfer from Vanderbilt. This defense, particularly this front, has had a huge night for South Florida. And he was one of the key additions out of the transfer portal for the Bulls. We're going to step aside, let them tend to lead. We'll be back in a moment. All right, so that's good news. Devin Lee there went down, the transfer from Vanderbilt. He's on the sideline, smiling, having a good time. Based on what we saw and how he went down, it looked worse with the way that he came down and grabbed at first what looked like his knee. The way they tended to him, Luke, they were stretching his hamstring. So we believe he's down there with a cramp. He is back up and looks as if he's ready to go back in the game, as Trayvon Mitchell replaces him for now. 2nd and 5. Madsen looked right, came back to his left, tucks it and runs. He's done that a couple of times on this drive for big gains to move the chains. Schuler brings him down, and that's a gain of 11.
Smart, heady decision right there. Take what the defense gives you. Don't like what you see. That front door opens, takes off, get positive yardage. Now they're lining up the football quickly.
Whistle blows before the snap.
Prior to the snap, first charge come out of the half. South Florida, 30 seconds.
You can see South Florida pre-snap. They were kind of looking around.
They're getting a taste of their own medicine
right.
is what they're getting.
They should be used to it from practice. And remember, this drive continued after a fourth down conversion. I love this when we got this assignment, Luz, because we were kicking off week 1 of the college football season. We are merely an amuse-bouche to a weekend entree of football deliciousness. Like this grid just lights my wick. Like I'm sitting here staring at it and I don't even know what to do with it.
You can't wait.
Like the fact that I get Notre Dame Miami on Sunday night after getting fat and sassy in studio with all those games. I mean, my goodness.
It's going to be a heck of a week.
The ESPN cafeteria is going to get it on Saturday. Joey Galloway, happy to welcome in EJ Manuel to our studio family, who join us on College Football Final each week. 1st and 10 after the run conversion. The handoff to Sherrod. I mean, you see he's got the quicks, but he just can't get around these defenders. Luke, this is an opportunity to punt. You'll be in studio this year with ACC.
I will. I'll be in studio starting Friday night on ACC Network, all throughout the day on Saturday.
Truest,
Covering it all. Getting back to the studio roots.
Truest statement in the building. The studio guys work harder than anyone.
The hours are.
Our great producers, Dee, Zoling, Riv. It's great to be back in college football. 2nd and 11. See, there's Sherrod's quick. When he gets a crease, he'll hit it quick. He did there. There's a gain of 9, and now 3rd down.
A little bit of that Idaho two-step. Man, I mean, that thing looked like it was dead to rights, potentially for a loss. He jump cuts to the right and then goes 0 to 60. His burst to and through the hole is fantastic.
You know, they know him well. He had 255 all-purpose yards against Boise State in 2023 when he was at Fresno State. They figured out they should probably get him. Gains, heavy personnel, 3rd and short. Take a throw, over the middle, caught, no, pops out incomplete. Gaskin came up and hit Wagner, and now it's 4th down.
Terrific timing there by Gaskin. And another big decision here for Boise State.
And he's got the offense out there, Luke's. In field goal range, 2-score game. They converted a 4th down already. Madsen, time, behind Gaines, incomplete.
Matt, that wasn't a well-thrown football that time for Maddox Madsen, but the way South Florida's been playing on defense, I'm not sure he would have gotten the 1st down with the way this Bulls defense has been tackling. Chenault, Johnny on the spot right there to make the tackle on the sideline. But one of the few times tonight we've just seen a flat-out inaccurate throw from Maddox Madsen. And now if you're South Florida with this home crowd behind you, you take possession of the football, you got to take advantage of this opportunity on offense.
You surprised he didn't line up for a field goal?
A little bit. There's a lot of time left here.
12 plays, 52 yards, 5.5 minutes, no points. What does Byron Brown do with it? He's going to keep it on 1st down and get corralled immediately by the Broncos. No flag on that one. Crowd wanted it for a late throwdown. Banks, Rip, both in there. Picked up 1. That flag was thrown late. You heard the South Florida sidelines yell PI, intended for Singleton, who had the touchdown on the fake punt.
That's Jake Rip, the linebacker, 43.
Pass interference, number 43, defense, sought foul, and automatic, 1st down.
Just a little early. You're going to see the shot in the back right there on Singleton by Jake Rip. He's in good position. Just a tad off on the timing.
So the penalty moves the chains, 1st and 10. Alvon Isaac in the backfield. Brown's going to fake it to him. He's going to take a shot deep. Looking for Nimrod! Caught! Yards to the Tennessee transfer. And the Bulls are in business. Tempo. Brown has the corner. Touchdown. We said at the beginning of the show that a player back in 2023 in a full season had over 3,000 yards passing, over 800 yards rushing. The only other quarterback in the country to have those numbers was Jaden Daniels. He won the Heisman Trophy. Brown missed last season with an injury. Boy, has he shown up in a national spotlight in his return to college football. 24-7 South Florida over Boise State. There's an injured player for South Florida, but here's the throw to Nimrod.
Yeah, Chaz Nimrod doing the post route over the top. They ran a crossing route to hold the safety, Devin Banks, number 4, to finally deliver and complete the vertical throw. And now this is where the pace of play catches up with you, because South Florida gets to the line of scrimmage, quickly calls the play, calls it on the quarterback, and now you've got Boise State defenders huffing and puffing on defense, just trying to get lined up. Excellent execution, finally delivering on the deep ball. And here's where you see the missed tackles on the perimeter, most notably from Jeremiah Irby, the defensive corner for Boise State.
13 carries, 40 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 called back, could have 3. 12 of 19, 178 yards for the senior quarterback out of Raleigh, North Carolina, who told us as they're taking a look at Cole Skinner, the offensive lineman who was injured on the extra point. You know, when Byram sat down, and this day and age in college football leagues, when you know that there's a really talented player that plays at a smaller school, you wonder and you think, is a big school going to come in and get this guy? Is a big school going to... We sat down, we asked Byram, like, was there ever a doubt? He's like, never.
No.
I was here to stay because of Alex Golesh and this offense. I was never going anywhere. This is where I wanted to be. And right now, he's got his team in a good position here at the end of the third quarter.
You love to see it. You love to see it. You really do.
So 24-7 South Florida here at the end of the third quarter. Tom Luganville, Matt Berry with you here. Thursday Night College Football's back in a big way. So is week 1. You know, we had a sense when we were talking to Alex Golesh, we talked about these group of 5 teams that get invited to the playoff now. He believes that the talent is there for this team to go on a run. And the team that they're up on right now is the standard in group of 5.
Right. Everybody is trying to model their program after Boise State with the consistency, the sustained success. It's one thing to build a program. It's a different animal to sustain it over the course of over 2 decades. And this is now year 3 for Alex Golesh. They feel like they've got a player-led football team, a player-led locker room from a leadership perspective, and they went out in the transfer portal, and you can see it here tonight. They started to really emphasize how were they going to improve in the offensive line and the defensive front, and so far so good. Early returns are positive.
This game was 10-7 South Florida. They hit the fake punt. They got a 4th down stop, and then the touchdown there to flip this game to 24-7, and it happened quick.
And by the way, Alex Golesh, 13-0 as the head coach here at South Florida when the Bulls are leading after 3.
All right, all 6 episodes of The Kingdom are available now, streaming on ESPN Plus and Disney Plus. The Kingdom takes an unprecedented look at the Kansas City Chiefs' legacy over 60 years of highs and lows, focusing on their incredible 2024 season. And, of course, the engagement heard around the world.
Oh, here we go.
The engagement heard around the world. Travis Kelce just put himself out there to have an entire album written about him someday. Can't hide love. First down, Madsen out of the pocket, rolls right, throws right, completion to Latrell Caples, who's been quiet tonight. They're going to need him here in the end of the third and early fourth quarter to get back in this one and a gain of 15.
Little tempo now from the Broncos. To your point, they've got some urgency with this offense.
And I'll tell you, one of the, at least in the first 2 years of the Alex Golesh era, how many times have we seen them in the second half be up in a game against a ranked team and then not be able to finish? You heard him in his pregame speech talking about tonight in the fourth quarter, we finish. I mean, they've lost 19 consecutive games to ranked teams.
Well, and listen, case in point, the Alabama game a year ago on the road in Tuscaloosa. It's 14-13 in the middle of the third quarter. The game is there for the taking in the fourth quarter, and they haven't found a way to put the nail in the coffin and finish teams off.
And he believes building this program to do that, you're going to have to learn how to win. Right now they look good, and that was a big hit on Caples, incomplete. That was Ward and Harris. And the hit looks worse because the helmet popped off,
Correct.
but that's a clean football hit.
Well, and Xavier Hamilton, number 25, who's dropping into coverage, if you watch his arm action, he's trying to swipe away at the ball at the last second as he creates contact with Caples.
So that, again, as you see Caples, who made a big play a moment ago. In this day and age in college football, you take a look at that and everyone will target him.
Sure.
You saw the hat come off, but then when you look at it in the replay, it was a high-low hit, clean, no head contact. But the helmet just popped off, and he's up.
Really well-thrown ball into traffic there. The only spot that Maddox Madsen could have put the ball. But again, credit this South Florida defense, man. They just find a way to be in the right position to make the play tonight.
Total defense last year, 118th in the country. Pass defense, 127th in the country. Rush defense, 81st in the country. The edict this offseason was fine Todd Orlando some dudes. And through 3 quarters, we're seeing them.
The magic wand of the transfer portal.
3rd and 8. Pressured, dropped. Mac Harris, the leader of that defense, got in Madsen's face. And at least for now, it looks like Spencer Danielson's keeping that offense out there again.
Yeah, and Sire Gaines ends up busting here in pass protection. He's got to be responsible for that A-gap between the center and the guard and take that rushing linebacker. Instead, he goes to help the defensive front. And looky here. 4th down. Got to get to the line to gain, Boise State receivers. They're confused now.
Yeah. The receivers didn't know where to line up, and now Danielson takes the timeout.
It's been a while since we've witnessed a Boise State team lose a little bit of their composure, get a little bit rattled. You know, this is out of their comfort zone, playing in this type of setting, down 24-7. It's been a while.
Look, we talk about program identity, right? And you and I were having a great conversation about that the other day. With all the changes in college football, to me, there are programs that remain the same that you know they're going to beat. Boise State's one of them. I think North Dakota State at FCS.
Sure.
I think Iowa's another one of those. But you just know who they're going to be.
Yeah.
And so when you always build from within your culture, you're not used to something like
and
this.
it becomes more magnified.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's going to run the offense back out there, 4th and 8. Incomplete. Rucker almost picked it off. And you wonder how many moments Boise State's going to have left.
Well, terrific anticipation, key in the eyes of the quarterback. Listen, you know that the receiver's not going to run past you. He's going to get to the line to gain. Ball intended for Cameron Bates on the out route, but he just gets flat-footed, plants, drives coming forward because he's not threatened vertically.
Back-to-back stops for the South Florida defense on 4th down. And they are in control here towards the end of the 3rd quarter. That's Norton. No Triani on the tackle. When you play tempo and your defense keeps getting you off the field as South Florida does, you could see this running game of the Bulls getting close to popping one as we get late in this game.
Yeah, there's no question. And look at South Florida now, just sitting. Now they're going to utilize the clock.
the story locally with their star quarterback back. They have the talent on the roster. Is that enough to finish in the fourth quarter and plant their flag in the Group of 5 hunt to be a contender this season? South Florida up 24-7 as we head to the fourth in Tampa.
Coach, you just told your team this is what they're built for. What is that going to have to look like in order for you guys to come back in this football game?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I thank Jesus in all things. No matter if things are going well or not, we got to finish, right? That we just haven't made the plays that we need to make, right? Either misalignments, communication, penalties, right now.
So South Florida retains possession. So another look there at the end of the play. You see the ball pop out.
Sure does.
And there was a whole stable of Broncos there. I don't know now Norton got that back, but he did.
I don't know how Jake Ripp did not. Number 43 right there in that pile. He was the first guy to pounce on the football for Boise State and doesn't come up with it.
You hear coaches say it all the time, ball didn't bounce our way. And right now, it certainly is for South Florida. Brown, quick shot outside. That was Rubin. Crowd wanted a face mask. Benefield on the tackle. Another quick hit. Rubin again. Third reception for the night for the Stanford transfer. Tempo. Up the middle. Norton. Knockout. This is a full-on statement being made by South Florida.
Boise State is tired right now. The pace of play, the temperature, the humidity, the momentum, the energy in the stadium is starting to take its toll on that Broncos defensive front. Now you're losing your cool.
And again, we've been harping on it because we have so much respect for Boise State's program. But now 31 unanswered points.
You just can't do that.
It was 7-0. And these Bulls ran out of gate, and they haven't stopped since the fake punt. It is another touchdown in Tampa. All Bulls. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Liberty Mutual. You're watching my guy Gage run the camera. 31-7. Love all of our crews. You know, here's what I love about college football season. You get to come back. It's like a reunion, seeing all your buddies again. It's been fun.
Look at these guys standing up right here. They're not ready to go on that last touchdown, and they finally get in their snaps, and the ball snapped. And that is where things start to wear on you when you are Boise State defensively against this pace.
Pooch kick there to the 25-yard line. We wondered through conversation, and look, it's a natural conversation to have. When you're out there in Boise, up in the mountains, and you're talking about coming down to South Florida, is it going to be difficult? But first, let's check in with Kevin Connors.
Yeah, Matt, we want to let you know ESPN's going to be broadcasting 51 games over week one. You can see right now ACC Network, NC State, 17-0 lead on East Carolina. C.J. Bailey, a touchdown run and pass. Missouri's got a Bo Perbula touchdown pass over on the SEC network, and Duke over on ACC Network Extra with a 10-3 lead.
Kev, thank you. As always, you can watch all of that on the all-new ESPN app. Over the middle, incomplete. This South Florida defense, 9 possessions, 4 punts, 2 takeaways, 2 stops on downs, just 1 score allowed. To me, that's the story of this game.
There's no question, and now what you're starting to see is inaccuracy at the quarterback position, missing guys, missing something at the point of attack. As this thing starts rolling down a little bit, and South Florida's gaining momentum.
So to finish the thought, there Madsen, again over the middle. Now that's a good grab by Caples. It's going to be a first down, Boise State. You wondered how much the heat, the humidity would play a factor late in this game for Boise, not used to playing in that kind of climate. They did some hell practices in camp to get ready for it, but you never know. And then we laughed when we saw South Florida come out in all black. We're like, what are you doing? I mean, it looked great. It looks great.
I was thinking of Ron Burgundy and Anchorman, and he goes, milk was a bad choice. That's what I said about these black uniforms. I said, wait, what are we doing here? And then Alex Goldis says, well, it's either black or green.
It's a good point. And black looks tougher.
Yeah.
And right now it's not hurting them, up 31-7. 2nd and 10. Quick shot outside. That's Lauder, the tight end. Quiet night for him. Gain of 5. Rucker forces him out.
It's been a long time since we've seen a Group 5 versus Group of 5 matchup that involves Boise State, where it's been this lopsided and put Boise State out of their comfort zone.
And pretty handily right now as we start the 4th quarter. And that's put on Lauder. He did kind of a pirouette, was able to hang on to it. Schuler forced him out of bounds, and that'll be a first down. But Luke, you and I were talking all week in preparation for this game. I said it when we were preparing. I said, you look at South Florida, it's like, that's a guy. They're loaded.
They're athletic and they're old. That's the thing. A lot of redshirt juniors, redshirt seniors, graduate seniors, guys that have played a ton of football have come into this program. A lot of experience.
That's a good shot there from Madsen. Caught by Bates. Jarvis Lee Jr. brings him down. He popped that one over the middle for 31 yards. Escapes pressure. Wide open player, and he just floats it too high. Had Caples trotting into the end zone for a touchdown, and he just floated it on him.
So close. You're on the move, trying to extend the play. Plenty of air on it, just a little too far. Boise needs one of those to hit. You need something positive to happen, resulting in points to try to shift this momentum over to your sideline a bit.
Again, 31 unanswered points out of the Bulls, down 7-0 early. Madsen tries to escape again and just throws that one to the sidelines. Gaines was there. It's incomplete. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 10. Going back to the conversation about South Florida and the guys that they brought in and the veterans, I think one of the biggest things that all the coaches told us, none of them came with ego.
No.
They kind of just came in and bought in. You never know at the portal. It really is a coin flip.
Yeah.
They said every single one of these guys they brought in, be it offense or defense, just came in and bought in.
And if they found out anything they didn't like about them, they said, we're not taking them. We're going to go another direction. Keep the locker room healthy.
Here comes the pressure. Madsen sets it, has space to run if he wants it, and he pulls it down. And a good open field tackle there to minimize the gain from Jarvis Lee Jr. and a gain of 4. It's going to bring up a 4th and 6. This is a no-brainer now to score 31-7 in the fourth quarter.
No-brainer, obviously passing down. That's the other thing that's taking place here is South Florida is playing half an offense right now. And you're not overly concerned about anything going on in the run game. You're worried about the pass game. You can pin your ears back and turn it loose.
Ball's out. South Florida recovers. Ira Singleton hops on it. And Maddox Madsen just flat out dropped it. All night long, it's been Todd Orlando's defensive unit. And they are on the doorstep of snapping a 19-game losing streak to ranked teams. And that ain't no bull.
ESPN Thursday Night College Football is presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
So the last time South Florida beat a ranked team in a season opener, Notre Dame. Back in 2011. Wow. You know the irony of that clip right there? I was just texting with Brady Quinn earlier tonight.
Yeah.
And then I show Brady Quinn losing to South Florida. I mean, can't make that up.
You know,
sorry, Brady.
You mentioned that win versus a ranked opponent.
Yeah.
This South Florida program since 2017 has only had 4 wins against teams with a winning record. 4.
Yeah.
This could be a fuse-lighting win for a program in progress in South Florida tonight.
That's Franklin off the left side. He's quick. He's kind of that little scat back, 5'10", 204, came in from Oklahoma by way of UT Martin. And this is, look, when we're getting into one of our hardcore football talks and you get to the end of the game, you have 31-7, you're trying to snap a losing streak against ranked teams, you talk about stealing the soul of another program, you do it on the ground.
No doubt.
And South Florida is going to try to steal their soul.
Demoralize them.
To make a statement in week 1. And program builders, Alex Goles, he's as candid as it gets as a head coach. And in year 3, you see the quick hit to the outside to Josh Porter. In year 3, I asked, you're all in on this one. It's like, not how it sounds.
Right, correct.
It's not how it sounds. He said, but what I want in year 3 is I want to show that the foundation that we've built carries itself with culture. Will that result in more wins? I don't know. But he said, if we see that coming, then I know that I'm building this thing. And in year 3 right now, back-to-back 7-6 seasons, 2 consecutive bowl wins.
Well, you know you're on the right path. That's the thing. And clearly what we've seen tonight after what was a very sloppy start for South Florida on offense, and this is a team that is figuring it out.
So 3rd and 5 there, right through Franklin's hands. That was some nifty ad-libbing there by Brown.
Well, you just wish he could have gotten that ball down just a little bit, because if you catch that, it's another fresh set of downs, and that clock just keeps rolling. You notice how South Florida here tonight in this fourth quarter really starting to slow down.
You know what freed him up tonight? The fake punt.
Yeah.
After the true freshman Lachlan Hewlett snuck in there and threw the fake punt, it was almost as if Byram just
let it all out.
Settled down.
Yeah.
And you started to see everything. At that point, he'd already rushed for a touchdown, but you saw him almost be comfortable with what was going on. And now, and we hadn't talked about it early in the broadcast, but it's time to talk about South Florida's schedule. We just showed you Notre Dame the last time they got a ranked win in the season opener. That's against Notre Dame back in 2011. Well, each of these teams, South Florida and Notre Dame, they start the season against 3 ranked opponents. I mean, whoever did the scheduling, don't pick up their bar tab next time you're with them. So you got Miami, A&M, Boise State, this Boise State team. And then you've got Florida and Miami if you're South Florida.
Well, keep in mind, this may be a different Boise State team by the time Notre Dame plays them.
This just in.
What do you got?
Oh, wait, we'll go back to it in a minute. That's over the middle. All right. Look what we have here.
Oh, boy. Time zone catching up with them.
Those are some Florida Fighting Gators in attendance. And that is a mouth snore if I ever saw one. Speaking of Florida.
Florida Gators hiding amongst the Broncos in the blue and orange. Wow. Taking a little nappy nap.
You see Madsen kind of get up. Kind of limp. You know, he's tough, though. One of his trademarks that he's been counted out. He had 2 offers coming out of high school. Chip on his shoulder player. Plenty of football left to play for Boise State. He just comes up limping and then does that. Escapes the pressure, slides down for a big gain and a first down. There's no quitting him, and a gain of 14.
When we showed that stat line just below him there and you saw 43 pass attempts, you don't see that from Boise State very often.
No, we noticed that tendency in the early part of the game. It was the first quarter. He'd already had 12 pass attempts, not many rushes for the Broncos, and you're right, it's out of character. That was a great throw and catch by Lauder.
You go back to that schedule we showed with South Florida, who now has to play Miami and the University of Florida. Well, those 2 teams now are looking and eyeballing South Florida maybe a lot differently than they were 2 days ago.
Something that's at stake tonight for the Broncos. They've had an 18-game streak of it having at least one 100-yard rusher. As Ben Ford drops that one, it does not appear, unless anything happens tonight. Sire Gaines has 44. That could snap an 18-game streak of having a 100-yard rusher. You're right. Florida and Miami.
They're looking at the Bulls a little differently right now.
And do you look at their roster, they're like SEC guy, ACC guy. You know, first things first for the Hurricanes, of course. They've got Notre Dame in a great opening weekend game. It is 31-7. A statement being made here in Tampa. And our first of a doubleheader, week 1 of college football.
Kevin Connors in studio. A look at Brendan Sorsby's second season as the Bearcats quarterback. 18 passing touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns for Cincinnati last season. And Dylan Raiola coming off a freshman year that was solid for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, wrapped up with a Pinstripe Bowl victory over Boston College. Nebraska-Cincinnati, Matt, what a way to get week 1 underway, second game of our doubleheader.
Kevin Connors, I'm going to delay the suspense. We're going to be at the hotel bar watching it. And the buddy here has now told the couple she's been caught on live TV.
So, we got the Denver Broncos orange and blue, the Gators orange and blue, and then the Boise State orange and blue all in one section.
Who knew orange and blue was the way to go? Ooh, boy, they hit down there. Jalen Schuler. You know, you always wonder when you get into these meetings and you really start digging into a team, especially in a season opener where, as you said, nowadays in college football, you just roster turnover.
Yeah.
You always wonder if the narrative's going to fit the story, the production, and what you see.
Yeah.
4th and 3. Turnover on downs. And to that end, when we sat and studied and talked to Todd Orlando and Golish about the new 4th down stops, the new defense, we knew they came in, but we wondered if that was going to be that big of a difference. And through one game, it's undeniable.
It's night and day. It's night and day.
You just want, every time you hear, well, they got new guys, we're going to change the focus up. The proof is in the score.
Well, and so much about it is, it's not just having new guys. It's not about the revolving door. It's not about adding 20, 25, 30 guys. Did you bring in the right guy?
The right guy.
And I'm not talking athletes. I'm not talking about talent. I'm talking about people. Because if you go the other way, it can go south on you real fast.
Oh, that is right up the gut. I talked about breaking a big one. There goes Isaac. The only running back on the depth chart to have played a snap for the Bulls, and he just went for 49. Max Stige couldn't hang on to him.
Look at Isaac just exploit the cutback lane, and Boise State's caught out of a gap. And then it's a foot race.
Oh, as a responsible broadcaster, I feel as though I owe, when you make an error here on 1st and 10, Byron Brown going to keep it. Wisely goes down. That was not my guy, Brady Quinn, in the Notre Dame uniform earlier. That was the one and only Dane Christ, 2011, last time South Florida won a season opener against a ranked team. So, Quinn, you're off the hook.
The win still stands, nonetheless.
It was still Notre Dame helmet wearing a number 10.
See that smart, heady play right there by Byron Brown? You're going to go ahead and keep it. What do? You don't go lead into somebody. You don't go out of bounds. You get down and let that clock continue to run.
The shoulder lowering appears to be done for the night.
Smart, heady play.
Speaking of Notre Dame and their quarterback, C.J. Carr, I know you followed him extensively in the recruiting world. He's going to be a fun one to watch at Notre Dame.
Hopefully get more explosive plays downfield from him in the passing game.
It's a tall ask when Miami has a lot of talent coming back, and their storyline coming into their game is their quarterback situation.
Sure.
Which quarterback are they going to get? The one that we saw from Georgia, Carson Beck, 2 years ago, or the one they saw last year? The ACC has some teams now.
No, there's no question, and there's really good quarterback play. And when you look at that Notre Dame team versus Miami, if you're going to catch a team that's as talented as Notre Dame is, but they're breaking in a new quarterback, get them early. Because you have the advantage if you're Miami under center right now.
That's what made this game fascinating, is both teams had veteran quarterbacks coming back here on 3rd and 2 in a jumbo formation. Not jumbo enough. They're going to hold him short. Braxton Feely brings him down.
There were 7 offensive linemen there, Matt, in the game for South Florida.
And remember, the offensive line, both these teams came back 114 career starts for the South Florida offensive line. Their left tackle, Derek Bowman, out. It's not a season-ending injury. They hope that maybe he can come back in a few weeks, but everything is in place based on what we've seen on the depth chart and what we've seen in front of us tonight to be one of those group of 5 teams who gets a seat at the table now to make some noise. Golish is going to use a timeout.
And final, talking about half, South Florida, 30 seconds.
All right, so while they take the timeout, we're going to take a look at tonight. And it wasn't even close. It was the return of Byron Brown, who was anxiously anticipating his return. And Luke's, he stepped up.
He certainly did, particularly as the game wore on. He got better as the game went on. Nice little dig. A lot of strain on the defense, lowers his shoulder to get across the goal line, and then is able to read the safety as they bring the crossing route over to hold the safety, throw it right over the top of his head to Tennessee transfer Chaz Nimrod. And those were some deep throws that he had missed earlier in his career and earlier tonight. And then once again, the pace of play catches up with Boise State as the very next play on the ground, Byron Brown takes it in himself.
Proper respects now for Nico Grammatica, who got points out of that drive 52 yards earlier. His dad, Martin Grammatica, of the kicking Grammaticas here in Tampa. Never a doubt. Automatica. Look at this. Martin, Bill, Santiago, Nico. The family of feet.
The family of the greatest kicker face masks of all time.
No question. Grammatica.
Which one of those 4's ACL is still intact?
Hopefully all of them. Nico, when he hit that 52-yarder earlier, his celebration was like It was. He
knew
jump.
better.
He knew better. He stayed. He let gravity do its thing and just kind of was like, yeah. I feel like the Grammaticas are like the Walenda family.
Yes, correct.
Like they just all walk high ropes. All the Grammaticas kick.
It's all they know to do.
Right. What do you do? What do you think? For Grammatica. Again, the first of our doubleheader, Cincinnati, Nebraska coming up. Mark Jones, Roddy Jones on the call. And our doubleheader tonight just sets the table for a Labor Day weekend unlike anything we've seen in college football. Like, pick something that just doesn't turn you on there.
I mean, look at that. It's unbelievable. You got Notre Dame. We talked about that. The new quarterback in C.J. Carr. Tommy Castellanos transfers down to Florida State.
Yep.
Now under Gus Malzahn calling plays. Ty Simpson bides his time at Alabama. He's going to finally get the start. And then how about the quarterback play between LSU and Clemson, huh? New quarterback play here for Boise State offensively.
Yeah, Max Cutforth, Idaho kid. He's going to get his opportunity now. No need to risk anything with the starters if you don't have to. And then how about Lenora Sellers and Kyron Drones? You got Kyron Drones and Lenora Sellers in that one.
Stephen Angeli at Syracuse, who won the job over Ricky Collins there, coming off of a huge year a year ago under Fran Brown in year one.
But when you have the conversation, you're going to get used to me on Thursday nights. I get on a soapbox.
Okay, go ahead.
Once a week.
Feel free.
I get on a soapbox every single week.
Can't wait.
Is Mullen to tell you. Here's my soapbox of week one. I am not a fan of preseason rankings. I think preseason rankings tend to usually not be accurate because what everybody does when they do their preseason ranking, they take a look at the team the year before and their bona fides, like, oh, they were good last year, let's put them in the top 5. There are teams that don't have questions at quarterback that aren't ranked number 1 and 2 based on everything coming back. I just don't think you can rank some of these teams where they are based on what they lost.
Well, and based off of what we know now with rosters that are returning and definitive answers at key spots, Clemson's the number 1 ranked team in the country.
And I think LSU's ranked too low just because of the Nussmeier factor.
Totally agree. It's going to be a great matchup in Death Valley.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, you look at those two.
Wow. Really anxious to see how Blake Baker's year 2 defense in Baton Rouge and LSU, how much they improve, because they're going to need to show up big on the road against that Clemson offense.
And soapbox number 2, if I may.
Okay, feel free.
Because we only have a few more minutes on air. We get a week off next week, the NFL kickoff.
I don't.
Can we just let, for the love of college football, can we let Arch Manning play a few games before we put all of this pressure on the kid because of his last name? I get it. He started a couple times last year when Quinn was out. But my God, I know he's a Manning and I know he's otherworldly talented, but let the kid play before we do all this stuff.
Couldn't agree with you more, but I will say this in reaction to that. I love the blueprint they laid out for him to get from point A to point B. They didn't throw him to the wolves. They spoon-fed him. He's matured. He's more ready for the moment because of the path they took.
And he's probably going to be a hell of a college football player. That's a great shot, by the way.
That was a great throw.
Over to Quentin Brown, another true freshman. He's probably going to be a really good football player.
Yeah.
Guy hasn't started a whole season. We've already got him as the Heisman Trophy winner, the number 1 team in the country, and the number 1 overall pick.
I know.
I mean, let the kid breathe. All right, I think I'm good.
Yeah, you know we got a commercial, right?
Yeah, no more soapbox. Out on the other side of the 2-minute timeout. Luke, we've ID'd the turning point in the game, and it was when it was 10-7.
Lachlan Hewlett here on the fake punt. Nobody notices he enters the game. Now, the game is 10-7 at this point. If they don't convert that, and they don't get points here, Boise State sitting with the football at midfield, that changed everything. Up until that point, they were just trading miscues throughout the entire first half.
Lachlan Hewitt's a true freshman quarterback that they are incredibly excited about, but he's not a punter. Snuck in. And that was the game changer. And because of that, 34 unanswered points. And you look at South Florida's schedule now, and I said at the beginning, we talked about the 3 ranked teams to start. They have this one, Boise State. They have Miami. They have Florida. This is a team that's got the talent to win a lot of football games. And you just hope if things don't go their way against Florida and Miami, and they are a group of 5 team, let's say at that point at best would be 10-2, that they wouldn't get docked against an 11-1 team that played an easier schedule.
All right.
Because if we're going eye test, I mean, you're a smart football guy.
Sure.
This team says to me that they've got a lot of talent.
This team's in the mix. There's no question. There's a lot of football to be played. There are a lot of things. Nobody's got a crystal ball, obviously.
Right.
But when you start comparing schedules and you start comparing performance, when you're playing at the group of 5 level, the margin of error is very, very slim, not only in the eyes of the committee, but also in the eyes of fans. You're going to bring your A game each and every week to prove your worth and your value.
Because it matters. And
it does matter.
And it is kind of, when you call group of 5, I know they don't like that, and it's kind of a slight, but there is a difference.
There's a difference. There's a reason there's a difference, because there's different levels of talent.
Right, and you just have to make sure that when you're watching them, you're watching them. Because I think Tulane, with Retzloff coming in, they're going to be a damn good team. We talked about Mullen and UNLV.
Really
there
good.
are some teams out there that have talent to play, and it starts with this guy, Byron Brown in South Florida. They're going to snap that 19-game losing streak against ranked teams.
Just think, the first 9 plays of the game for South Florida tonight resulted in negative 10 yards. And here we sit at 34-7 South Florida.
So what a start for Alex Golesh, year 3. Believe that this team could be special. And if night one's any indications, he hugs Todd Orlando, whose defense earned it tonight.
Yeah, he deserves a hug.
They could be in store for a special season. Luke's final thoughts, if you will.
Well, just impressed. Everything that Alex Golesh for South Florida spoke to us about this week came to fruition today. Tonight, South Florida made a statement against the premier program at the Group of 5 level of college football, playoff participant a year ago.
Charlie Reynolds directed it. Kevin Clark produced it. Harry Lyles down to the sidelines. Tom Luganville and Matt Berry up in the booth. Thursday night, college football is back. What a statement. South Florida over Boise State 34-7. Second game of our doubleheader. Nebraska and Cincinnati. Take it away.